there's a spot in that facility, but if you were to walk into it, it looks like a big warehousing area. But the intention of that piece of that building is that industries can bring in equipment that may be coming into the area, and we can train their students or their workers up on it before the piece of equipment ever even makes it to the machine. So when the machine goes in, the students are ready and everything runs like a hand in a glove.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Beaumont Beat video podcast, where we move with the heartbeat of the city. I'm your host, Tracy Kennick. If you've driven south on MLK during the last year, then you've probably seen a huge building going up on the campus of Lamar Institute of Technology. This cutting-edge workforce and allied health training center is designed to equip students with the skills and hands-on experience they need for high-demand careers in healthcare and skilled trades. From state-of-the-art labs to expert instructors, the center is setting a new standard in workforce development for our region. Today, we're going to be talking with the president of LIT, Dr. Sid Valentine, and he's going to let us know everything about the school, the role it has in Beaumont's economy, how this new hub is empowering the next generation of professionals, and a lot more. But before we get to all that, we have one announcement for you. We want to remind you that we have a general election coming up in May to elect Beaumont's mayor and city council members. The last day to register to vote is April 22nd, and the election day is May 3rd. To get election information and to see who's on the ballot, visit beaumonttexas.gov/election. Now let's get into today's show. Dr. Valentine, first of all, thanks so much for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right. I want people who are not familiar with LIT, tell us a little bit about the history and what the Institute's really for.
Well, the history of LIT, they actually separated from Lamar in 1995, I believe it was. At the time, LIT was the technical component of the university. And now our main focus is to provide innovative teaching and learning for tomorrow's workforce. And we like to take that a step further and say very immersive. You know, all of our programs are very immersive in nature. A student should come to us, and by the time they leave, it should literally feel like changing jobs. It should be that immersed when they're in their educational process. Most of our students, they go out and do very highly technical things in the industry here in the area. And we also have a workforce component that upskills them later on so they have continuous learning throughout their lifetime.
And you're doing well. I hear you have record enrollment this year.
We do. As last fall, we had 6,380 students, and we're going to surpass that this year. This spring alone, we're up 11.5% as of this morning.
Fantastic. Tell us about the role, the overall growth. How does that help our economy here locally?
Well, if you look at the types of programs that LIT does, we allow students to get into the workforce very, very quickly. You know, that's not to take anything away from the university, but we have programs for students that can prepare them in months, in weeks, maybe a year, maybe two, so that they can start giving back to the community in the form of tax dollars, earnings, things like that very quickly. They go out, they provide better lives for their families, they set their families on track to better themselves going forward. So the community continues to grow and thrive just by stepping into that door on the first day and saying, I can do this thing when I didn't think I was college material in the first place.
And that's a way to retain these students
Absolutely.
In our area, right, for the future.
And I mean, speaking of retention, 80% of the people that go to LIT live and work within the state of Texas, and most of those within the Golden Triangle. So most students that come to LIT, it's not because they're less than students, it's because they want to be place-bound. Mm-hmm. They want to stay in this area, they want to grow in this area, and they want to keep their families and everything going in this area.
Is it primarily for students who want to get into the workforce quickly? Like, this is something they're like, maybe I'm not a great college student, but I have some skills and I want to get to work.
Primarily, yes. I mean, we do have a transfer component, and some of our programs, as we'll talk about later, do have transfer options to get into Lamar. Mm-hmm. But they also have the ability, upon completing with us, to go straight into the workforce and making very high wages when they do.
I love it. Okay. Now talk about yourself a bit. You came to Southeast Texas in 2022,
mm-hmm.
and you've already become really involved in our
mm-hmm.
community with the chamber and elsewhere. Tell us a little bit
mm-hmm.
about that.
Oh, I love it here. I mean, in Beaumont, to say that this area fit me like a hand in a glove would be an understatement. I love the people here. I love this area.
Where'd you come from?
I moved here from Florida, actually.
Okay.
So, but I really enjoy the people in Beaumont and everything there is going on here. And as far as me just fitting in here, all of my degrees happen to be in engineering. So with all the manufacturing and the technology going on, it just fits well. I've been on the Beaumont Chamber for roughly 2 years, and that group is is probably a hub of economic development in this area. And just to be at that table with all those fine ladies and gentlemen that represent all of the businesses and things in this area, it's good to see it all and how LIT can contribute to that.
Are you excited about the prospect of new development here in Beaumont?
Oh,
Talk
absolutely.
Of hotels, things like that?
Oh, as we were talking to one of the hotel developers earlier, there's some things that we may be able to partner with through the college with that new hotel development that could bring some things into this downtown area, which we would also be very interested in.
Love it. Okay. Well, in just a moment, we're going to talk about a new building that recently opened on LIT's campus and those who will benefit most from that. But first, another announcement for you. We want your opinion. Don't forget to vote for Beaumont's new tagline. Now, a tagline is meant to help set the tone for how others view our city. And it's a way to highlight what makes our city so unique. The new tagline will represent us for years to come. So be sure to let your voice be heard and tell us what you want other people to say about our city. Go to beaumonttexas.gov/tagline to vote for your very favorite. And as always, don't forget you can stream this show and past episodes of the Beaumont Beat on multiple platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. Subscribe to our channel, like this episode, and share it with others so they too can enjoy it. And we're always looking for new topics, so be sure to drop us a comment and let us know what you would like to see in a future podcast. And now back to our conversation with LIT President Dr. Sid Valentine. I want you to talk a little bit about the new Workforce and Allied Health Training Center. It opened just a few months ago, right?
It fully opened in January of this year. We did our ribbon cutting last fall. That's where we have our nursing program, our farm tech program, and a huge workforce component in that building. And again, there's a spot in that facility that if you were to walk into it, it looks like a big warehousing area. But the intention of that piece of that building is that industries can bring in equipment that may be coming into the area, and we can train their students or their workers up on it before the piece of equipment ever makes it to the machine. So when the machine goes in, the students are ready and everything runs like a hand in a glove. So it's meant to be a very open, change on a dime kind of space to do anything and everything workforce-wise.
Now, I know one of your big programs, my daughter's a nursing student, is your nursing program. This is one of the only schools where you can go in 2 years, become an RN.
Absolutely. And I mean, with a 2-year RN degree, that is the base nurse at most of these facilities. And then if our students choose to later, they can literally walk across Lavaca, go into the bridge program with Lamar University, and continue on to be a BSN. But they can come out within 2 years, take their RN's license, and go directly to work in any of the hospitals in the area.
That's fantastic, right? Let's talk about the workforce. When you talk about workforce, what's included there?
Well, I mean, when we look at workforce, it's anything and everything. We do a lot with these plants. We do a lot with local businesses and industries. I mean, I hate to say it this way, anything from Excel all the way up through CNC programming. When you look at workforce programming in 2-year colleges, the expectation is that a business comes in and says, this is what we need, and we create it on a dime. And we create the training that you need when you need it and deliver it to your people either on site or in our new facility.
I mean, that's a win-win for these industries that need particular training, as well as for the students who need a job.
Absolutely.
That's ideal.
Yeah, I mean, because then they become lifelong learners. When you take your initial job out of college, you have a certain set of skills, and as you go into expanding those opportunities, it allows you to keep that job, enrich your opportunities in that job, or maybe move on to another job because you continue to grow and learn throughout your lifetime. And as technology continues to change constantly, we're always there to help upskill you and prepare you for the next generation of technology coming along.
I love it. And I love that we're hiring local because of that, right? Because we are now trained to do those jobs that they might have to outsource or go somewhere else to find those
Absolutely.
employees.
We have, on any given day, we have between an 89 and 90% placement rate upon graduation from the college, which is huge. Most colleges have anywhere between 65 and 70. So our students are highly sought after when they come out.
Is there an opportunity for the public to check out what you're doing there?
No, absolutely. As I tell people, I love to show that building off. So if people come on campus, you'll half the time hear me referring to myself as a tour guide. And I walk them to the campus, walk them to the facilities. Any of our people will gladly do that. And we would love for people to come and see what we have going on campus or in that facility.
What would you tell people about higher education and why it's so critical, especially for our area?
Well, it's funny you say that. I used to give a speech at graduation all the time, and we would give it to our incoming freshmen, that we would look out across the seats and you point out the empty seats, which always makes me look like I'm crazy. And I said, what do these empty seats represent? Those empty seats represent people who didn't choose to change their life that day. I said, all of you guys that are sitting here, You chose to make a conscious decision through higher education to change someone's life, and it's not yours. It'll be the next generation, the person that's looking at you saying you did it, so I can do it. And I was that springboard that got our family or our friends or whatever up to the next step. And through higher education, I mean, it sounds cliche, but you literally can be anything you want to be if you want to put the time in. And by stepping into LIT on that first day, you've made that first step to allow us to help you get wherever you want to be.
And sometimes it's just taking that first step.
Absolutely.
Right? Because that can be scary, or the unknown, and you don't know, can I really make it? And what do I want to do? But you got to step in the doors before you ever
You've got to step in the doors. And again, we have a very inclusive college. Like I say, it's not uncommon to see me roaming around, to see Miss Hannah roaming around. So it's not, the big building or the little buildings. We are all just one big family on campus. So if someone can just make themselves come to campus, I think they'll find it suits them, and that we are a very welcoming institution.
Yeah, and maybe they wouldn't dare step foot on a large university campus, but it fits them well.
And some people aren't quite ready for that yet.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the future of LIT. I know you have a new building going up across from MLK. What's that going to be used for?
That's going to be our Advanced Technology Center. We have our engineering tech programs will be going on in there. We have our plumbing program in there. We have our residential electrical wiring going on in there. That entire side of campus is more of a trades and crafts and this sort of thing across the street on MLK. And if you were to walk in that building, literally the wallpaper, the murals on the walls are electrical diagrams and mechanical diagrams. They look like drafting prints. If you look
Which
up
would
into
mean nothing to me. Right?
If you look up into the ceilings, you will see all the wiring, all the piping. It seems odd for a building, but that turns that building into an immersive lab in and of itself. Wow. So as you're walking in a hallway and you're thinking about the classes you were in, you're seeing diagrams on the walls that you would have just seen in class 5 minutes earlier.
That's
as you
incredible.
walk into the big shops, you look up into the ceilings, there's no drop ceiling or anything. So you see how professionals did it when they created the building. So you know what your expectation is. You can't just halfway do this. This is what the expectation is from a customer, us being the customer at that time. Again, remember when we started this conversation, I said we're very immersive with everything. When you walk into those spaces, you're in a living lab, and that's what that new building is intended to be.
Fantastic. I'm excited to see it. Anything else you want to tell us that I haven't asked you today?
Basically, like I said, we're always looking for new students. We have an 8-week semester coming up that we're now registering for. We have summer classes that we register for. And all you have to do is make that first step to come onto campus. And, people might think I'm crazy saying this, but my building is on the second floor of Beeson. Come up and we will help you in which way we can. I'll walk you around, I'll tour you through that facility, and make you feel as home as much as we possibly can. But just being the compressed campus that we are, I think if people came, they would find they belong very quickly.
Dr. Sid Valentine, thank you so much for joining me today and for all you're doing to further education here in Southeast Texas. I appreciate that so much. And we do have one last announcement before we go today. Want to brush up on your computer skills, learn a new language, or write a book? Well, the Beaumont Public Library System has got you covered there. There are a variety of classes held each month, including several classes for children, from making crafts to sensory learning. You want to check out everything they have to offer at Beaumont Public Library's Facebook page. And we hope you'll join us for the next episode of the Beaumont Beat. We'll be talking with local wildlife photographer and Convention and Visitors Bureau employee Ken Guidry. Birding season is about to pick up, so he'll fill us in on that and give us a few tips on photography as well. But for now, I'm Tracy Koenig. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Beaumont Beat, where we move with the heartbeat of the city, and we'll see you next time.